But you stay on hard.
Second time in his career, Stanton Levine, who's been here for 4 years. You know, he really carried us during the conference tournament, 29 points versus Lincoln Christian, and then followed it up again with another 14 versus the College of Ozarks. And then we talk about Taiwan Bowie. He's a junior on this team who's also going back again to the national, the NAIA national tournament. And he's just been our leader. He's a guy that gets us going all the time. He's a shooter. He's an energizer bunny for us, to be honest with you. And then you talk about another senior in Bryce Williams, who comes off the bench for us, who's been a real spark plug for us on both ends of the floor, very athletic, can rebound. We have what we call our closer, Malik Wood, one of the older guys on our team, who's played some Division II basketball as a transfer at a high level. He's a closer. He comes in and he settles us down. He's like that vet that comes off the bench that settles it down the last minutes of halves and last minute of games. And we've got one of probably the best sharpshooters in the nation. He's had some games with 7 threes, 8 threes in a game. Terrell Wyndham, who really gives us a spark in that area. We've got a bunch of other guys, Jordan Blue, who really gives us a lot. Willie Ferguson, another senior who's in his second year, or excuse me, a senior who's the second time going to the national tournament. So we've got a bunch of guys who really helped us during this season to get to where we are.
Coach.
Yes.
They didn't do you any favors. They sent you all the way to Wichita, Kansas.
Correct.
So, number one, will you fly or will you bus it? And if you busted it, have you Googled it to see how long it is? And what did you do to prepare for a conference a team that you've never seen? And obviously you're going to get some film between now and then, but how do you really prepare for a team that you haven't seen and that most of the people who you've played have not seen either?
Well, number one, we're going to be flying this one. We busted to the conference tournament to Arkansas, and that was about as furthest you could go on that bus that we wanted to go. So that was about 11 hours. So this one is about 17 hours if you were busting it, and that's not what we want to do. So we had our selection show tonight here on campus with our AD, and we already talked about that we were flying as soon as we knew where we were going. So that's the best thing that I can say about that part is that these guys get a chance to get on that plane. We can get there. Their legs can be stretched out. Won't have to be in a bus ride for so long. And when you talk about the opponent that we have to play, luckily we have some time. Now that we know who we're playing, we've got time to get ready, got time to prepare for them, got time to get some tape. And I can already tell you, we found out who we're playing probably less than an hour ago. I can already tell you they average 82 points a game. So I can tell you they can really shoot the basketball really well. A bunch of guys that can shoot. So if you already know, I'm already on this scout already.
There you go. Well, Coach Huff, we thank you for joining us here today. Good luck in the tournament. They looking at these brackets, they didn't do any HBCUs any favors.
Unfortunately,
where
right?
They played some of these teams, and some of these teams may geographically be placed in a good spot, but the opponents that they have are probably just as tough. So good luck for you guys.
I appreciate it. The one thing I'll say is that anytime you try to win a championship and cut down some necks, you got to beat somebody you're probably not supposed to beat. So we're up for the challenge.
Coach, before you get out of here, Coach, let people know where they can find you, where they can find Voorhees College. Hey, and if we got any HBCU folks out in the Kansas area, let's see. Again, in Wichita, Kansas, if you're within a 4-hour radius, go out.
Kansas City, we need to see you.
Kansas City,
let's go.
They go out to Kansas. Coach, give some plugs. Let people know how they can find you and keep up with the program.
Definitely follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Voorhees Voorhees MBBALL. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Coach Cabral Huff. And we're always trying to do something so you can understand what we're doing with Voorhees basketball. We're really excited about what we have in little old Denmark, South Carolina. A lot of people don't know. This is year 2 of us, 2 years out of 3 of us winning a conference championship. So we play basketball down here. Don't forget it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, Coach, we appreciate you again, folks. That's Voorhees, Voorhees College. Make sure to look them up, Instagram, Twitter. We'll make sure to retweet that link as well. And follow Coach Huff. Coach, you and the fellas and the staff, be well. Good luck. We'll be keeping up with you and rooting for you in Wichita, Kansas against 2-seed Bethel from Kansas, Kansas. So good luck, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Thank you. Again.
All right. And now joining us, Bryan, joining us from New Orleans, no lie, is Coach Alfred Williams of Xavier University.
All right, we got Coach Williams. Are you there?
Yeah, he was in the room. We were waiting on him.
All right. Again, want to let people know I'm going to send out that I'll search for that Twitter feed while we're waiting on Coach to connect there. Again, just to let people know, Voorhees will be playing. Let's see, as a 3-seed against Bethel, Kansas, which is a 2-seed. And so the part of let's see, Coach Williams, are you there? I think maybe he got his audio.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right, there he is. Coach, it feels like we just saw you like a minute ago. Good to see you. You safely made it back, and I heard that you. Let me see. Let me make sure I got the right team because I know somebody from Zula's heading back to Florida.
That would be the women.
Okay. Your team actually heading out to Alexandria, Louisiana, to take on number 2 seed Cumberland's Kentucky. Coach, hey, a year ago this time we keep getting closer and closer. A year ago we had this announcement, you had the big, and then everything shut down. And I feel like we keep asking you, but I got to keep asking again.
Yeah.
Your emotions. How are you feeling? You're a little bit closer to actually being able to get the game tipped off this year.
Well, we were excited, man, when the news came out, and like everybody else, man, and just trying to compartmentalize everything and trying to just make sure that the right emotions come out. We're super excited to be playing where a lot of folks aren't playing. And then, like you said, last year we didn't have the opportunity to play. So really just really thankful for the opportunity, and that we have this opportunity, but, still kind of leery because like last year we were getting ourselves and everything together. Then all of a sudden everything stopped. So hopefully we'll be able to continue. And then, we'll have a good week of preparation and get ready for Cumberland's.
All
right.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. All
right, Coach. Don't have that far to travel. They've got you going to Alexandria, Louisiana. Mm-hmm. So first of all, tell everybody geographically how close that is to you guys, and you don't necessarily have I guess at this point in time nobody has an easy draw. Because Cumberland's is a pretty good team, and then you've got what I like to call a swag. I don't know why they don't like to put the W in the Southwest Assemblies of God. So
right.
Tell us what you know about these two teams.
Well, so the first question, Alexandria is about 3 hours from New Orleans. It sits in the middle of Louisiana. So we've been there a couple of times to play LSUA throughout the years. So Not a bad trip for us, which we're thankful for that. Crumblins, we played Crumblins maybe 3 years ago. We took a trip up to Kentucky and played in their tournament, and got an opportunity to see them up close and personal. Coach does a really, really good job, getting talent, does a great job of coaching the talent. So we're a little familiar with them, haven't seen them in a couple of years, but definitely think that, it definitely is going to be a good game. They do an unbelievable job of scoring the basketball. They have some really, really good guard play just off of first glance. And so, it's going to be definitely a challenge for us. And then if we're fortunate enough to win, we'll place Swagoo. Sagu.
That's going to be with you now. You're gonna be thinking about that later. Now you're going to be thinking about that. Then you can blame Drew for that.
Swag you. That's what that's what they should be nickname.
Yeah, they so I have when I was a red coat with the NAIA throughout the years, had the opportunity to watch them, and they historically do an unbelievable job. They have really, really good guard play. From what I've seen historically, I haven't had a chance to dive into them yet. We just got the brackets released, so haven't had a chance to dive into them yet. But we definitely, we'll try to prepare as best we can. But first things first, we have to be prepared for Crumblins, and then hopefully we take care of our business, what we need to do, and then we'll be ready for Sagu.
All right, Coach. Now you do have an equalizer or two on your team. And the one I'm speaking of specifically is Rayshawn Martin,
right?
Conference Player of the Year, Tournament MVP, and as far as the Black College Sports Network go, the most quiet is kept secret. He's on our finalist list for NAIA Player of the Year at the Black College Sports Network. Okay. So, what will you need from not only from him, but from everybody else? Because he may be the quote unquote star of the team, but you have plenty of Scottie Pippins if he's your Jordan. You got plenty of good players on that team in addition to Rayshawn Martin, which is the household name.
It's Rayshawn gets all the attention, because he scores the most, but we have some, like you said, some unsung heroes on our team that have been doing it all year long that don't necessarily get the attention, but don't necessarily want the attention either. We have some guys like, TJ Jones has been solid all year long. Cameron Wells, the Wells brothers have been really, really solid, just kind of doing their due, and, also our freshman Corey Dunn has been unbelievable, man. He's top 10 in the country in block shots, and, has been getting better and better every game. So we're fortunate enough to have a great team, not just one guy. We have a great team of guys who come in and do their jobs, and we're really thankful for them and grateful for them, man. But Ray is our first. Makai is our emotional leader. He gets us going, and a lot of people kind of forget about Makai, but he's a guy that can definitely go off and get some things done for us also. And then you got Mr. Ray, man, Mr. MVP, Mr. GCAC Player of the Year, man. He's been, like I told you last time, man, he's been a joy to coach, for 4 years. He's been unbelievable for our program. He'll probably, when it's all said and done, might be close, if not the all-time leading scorer in Xavier history. I know he broke a record towards the end of the season with the most made free throws. Very decorated career at Xavier, man. And, when we talk to our kids about, recruiting their student athletes, we always talk about leaving a legacy, and he has definitely left his mark on Xavier men's basketball for sure.
All right, Coach, last question, Brian.
Well, what I was going to ask, this is the 20th appearance for Xavier in the tournament, and I just wanted to kind of find out your personal experiences being a former player. Any trips to the national tournament during your years as a player, and if so, what recollections do you have of those trips? And I apologize for not doing my research in advance to find that out.
That's
so
fine.
I'm hoping you answer by saying you did go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So of the 20, if this is the 20th appearance, I have been to a total, this will make number 10 for me.
Okay, thank God. Okay, good.
I went 3 years as a player at Xavier. I went 4 years. No, my math is wrong. I went 5 years, 5 out of my 6 years as assistant coach, and then this is now my third appearance as a head coach. So, we've been fortunate enough to get there. One thing for us, and I challenged our team, is getting there. That's the easy part. Now it's time to be able to make a name nationally for our program. And we haven't had a lot of success. The last time we won a game there actually is when I played as a player back in 06, 07. And we was up against like the number 2 team at the time. I think it's Georgetown out of Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And we ended up beating them, and everybody thought the world was ending, But, we were a tough, scrappy team, man, that just came out and compete. We was undersized, but we just fought. We had a lot of heart. We had a lot of good guard play. And, at the national level, you got to have a little bit of both. We didn't have the size. Our tallest guy was about 6'7", but he was maybe 210, 220 at the time. So, but we had a team full of scrappers, and we just kind of leaned on our strengths, which was our speed, our ability to attack off the bounce, and it kind of had the same makeup of our team that we have now. Our speed is one of our key strengths of our team, and so when you're able to put the ball on the floor and attack and be able to score and transition the way we do, and also defend the way we do, it gives us definitely a great chance to do some special things. So we're definitely looking forward to the challenge, man. It's not like you said, it's not an easy bracket. Nobody has an easy bracket, but we're definitely looking forward to the challenge, because at the end of the day, when it's 48 teams, everybody's a champion. So you gotta be ready to put your hard hat on and your steel toe boots, and let's go to work.
No, notice a guard talked about good guard play. I'm gonna call him out.
I was a little Mr. Utility guy, man. So I played all over. I played from the point to all the way to the 5, man. So I did a little bit of everything. Whatever was needed, that's what I did, man.
There you go.
Nice.
Hey, Bryan, before we let Coach Williams go, I'm going to bring on Coach Browder, and we just want to talk about that double that these two pulled off there at Xavier University. So joining us right now, as soon as this audio connects, is Coach Bo Browder, who is hopefully, if he gets on that run, can get not only that that elusive victory that he hates that I talk about, that magical number. So I'm not gonna say it, but that would mean he's playing for he's at least in the semifinals if he gets to that number. He knows that number without talking about. But these two coaches right here pulled off a double at Xavier University. Only 4 times in GCAC history have the men and the women's team from a university won the GCAC tournament in the same year. Mm-hmm. To take that one step further, of those 4 times, Xavier has done it twice. Dillard was last to do it in 2018. So just want to get you two gentlemen together. Quick comment from both you guys on that magical feat, what that means for you and for the Xavier community. We'll start off with Coach Williams first on that.
Well, I mean, it's special, man, especially when you can do it. When both teams can get it done, it's special. We lean on Coach Bo a lot, man, with his experience of just being in the college game, man, and he has a lot of wisdom, man, and he's seen a lot of things, man. So we lean on him a lot to be able to give us some information, man, just kind of things he sees, and just to be able to be in that number, man, to be able to win both men's and women's conference tournament championships, man. Like it's a special occasion, man, and we definitely excited to have done it with our last year here in the GCAC for sure.
I wasn't going to talk about the elephant in the room. I'm glad you brought it up. Coach Browder, your opinion on that?
No, like Coach Williams said, I mean, we were very excited. It's an outstanding accomplishment. I have been there. Like I said, I'm kind of the old man on the staff, and been around Xavier for about 22 years. And since I've been there as a head coach, we have never been blessed to be able to accomplish that. And when Coach Williams got the job, that was one of his things that we talked about is it'll be outstanding if we can both cut the nets down at the same time on the same weekend. And, you know, God is truly good. And we both been working really extremely hard to make that happen. And like I said, I call him my nephew because I was there coaching when he was playing, but he has done an outstanding job. He's a great role model for our young student athletes and everything like that. And I'm so proud of him. But like I said, we still got work to get done.
And I'll say it is really it's fun, I think, to be able to see the men and women's programs at a university work so well together. And when I say that, to see the student athletes have the opportunity to be able to support one another, to see the coaching staffs support one another, it's something you don't see at the national D1 NCAA level. But when you see it in the NAIA level, it really is fun. And when you see two strong programs, it just lets you know that this is a we almost call it a basketball school. There's a lot of great programs at Xavier, so I don't want to get in trouble with the AD, but you know, basketball, you know, feels like Xavier is a basketball school, as you might say, and it's really fun to see your two programs doing well. And we'll be looking for those Xavier polos and shirts at the end of the season, so that during the summer, you know, we can rep men and women's programs. I just thought I'd throw that plug in there whenever, you know.
Okay. I think we can make that happen. We gotta go through a few channels, but I think we're gonna try to make that happen for y'all, man.
Whatever it takes. All right.
We're gonna thank Coach Williams for joining us, and now we're gonna talk to Coach Browder. Good luck in the tournament, Coach Williams. We at the Black College Sports Network and the whole HBCU Nation will be rooting for you.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Have a good evening.
All right, Coach.
All right.
All right, and now we've got well, let's make sure we got all the graphics right. All right, here we go. Coach Bo Browder joining us right now, the GCAC tournament champions. Coach, this is the 21st appearance for Xavier in the national tournament, first since 2019. Obviously, talk a little bit about where, and I hate to do the comparison thing, but there's only been, I think the notes that that the NAIA put, only 9 programs in this tournament have been to the tournament 20 times, and Xavier is one of them. So when you hear that, that puts puts the program in one of those upper echelon tiers across the country. Share a little bit of your thoughts on that, and when you hear those kind of statistics, you know, of Xavier compared to other teams across the country, what are your thoughts?
Well, when I hear that, I think about the university. I mean, when I first ended up getting the job, you know, our president, Dr. Francis, mentioned to me that he just wanted us to run a first-class women's basketball program. He didn't want to cheat the young ladies. He wanted to make sure they had an outstanding experience while they was playing at Xavier. And I told him that that's something that I'll make sure that takes place. And, you know, over the years, you know, we have developed some fine student athletes and worked extremely hard in the classroom and on the court. And that's really one of the most exciting part about it, is that, you know, we've been able to compete against some outstanding NAIA programs. We've been fortunate to beat some Division II programs. We've been fortunate to beat some Division I programs. So, you know, I'm just excited. I think I have one of the best jobs in the country, and I work for one of the best presidents and one of the best athletic directors in the country. So I'm really excited to try to keep this thing moving in the right direction.
All right.
I was just going to ask Coach about, you know, before, obviously there hasn't been a lot of opportunities to kind of talk about your opponent, Benedictine from out of Kansas in the Heart of America Conference. I was just going to ask about experiences in the tournament, maybe things that you've experienced in previous trips that you can share with this group, or do you kind of treat every experience as a new one and just kind of let it happen with each team in its own unique way?
Well, I try to talk to them with, I truly believe, going to the national tournament, and we've been successful when we not had juniors and seniors having an opportunity to play in the national tournament as freshmen and sophomores. So we are really, truly blessed right now to have our juniors and some sophomores that played in the national tournament a couple years ago. So I think that's going to help us along the way. And the bottom line is, our opponent, they're an outstanding program also, but we just got to show up and compete. I think it's very important anytime you attend the national tournament to try to, like we always say, have a good jump start early in the game. You don't want to play from behind.
All right, Coach Browder. Once again, another one of our HBCUs that the committee didn't do any favors to. Got you going all the way down to Lakeland, Florida. That's kind of one of those tweener trips, it's right at the edge of that long bus ride and or a short flight, I know how they get when you get there right there on that borderline as far as how you travel. And then they've got you in the same bracket with a Southeastern team that Bryan and I happened to see play this year, who is, and I hate to say it, they're probably as good as they'll be able to be, Coach Browder. So I'll be the first one to tell you that. So just what are your thoughts on where they put you at and who they put you against?
Well, I'm an old school guy, man. I'm just happy to have an opportunity to be in the tournament because there's a lot of outstanding teams that was left out. I can go back to teams in our conference right now. I know there's probably 3 or 4 coaches who are very disappointed they didn't get an opportunity to get in here. So I just wanted to have an opportunity to get in, and we'll take on the opponent. And I know you was teasing me on Saturday talking about number 4 something, and I'm like, it really don't matter. It's about the next game up because the other number won't even happen if I don't take care of business with the game in front of me. So right now, all I'm excited about is to have an opportunity to play on our next Friday.
So what do you do between now and then to get ready? We know how things normally work as far as practice goes, because realistically, you have to put all your energy into your next opponent. But someone on that staff has to be looking ahead. It's just because I've been there. I've been in the tournament before as a coach. Somebody has to do it, even though you don't say anything about it, you don't talk about it, but you have to have the research done. So how do you prepare in this situation?
Well, we have 2 assistants. They'll definitely deal with getting the information. One will really focus in on the first opponent, Benedicti, and the next one will focus in on our Southeastern. And what I'll do is be the middleman. I'll get a feel for both opponents and be able to make some suggestions, and I'll look at some game tape and go from there. But like you said, Southeastern, hey, they're a hell of a program. I got a lot of respect for their coach. He does an outstanding job, outstanding program. And like you say, y'all saw him play. You got to come ready. You got to come with your A game. Can't come with C or B. You got to come with your A game. Then if you're playing them at home, it's major problem. So I'm just praying we'll get an opportunity to play them. But at the end of the day, you got to take care of the first opponent first.
All right. Last question before we get out of here, Coach. The one thing, if Xavier does this good, will lead to a victory. What is that one thing that you have to focus on in order for you guys to win?
Well, I think the most important thing with us is being consistent on the offensive end. And I think y'all saw that this weekend when we score, when we able to make buckets and be consistent in every quarter, we can compete with a lot of teams in this country and everything, because we're going to defend. That's the bottom line is we're going to get out there. We're going to defend. But if our offense don't go in a major drought, I like our chances against anybody. And that's what happened happened this weekend. Russ, an outstanding team. Edward Waters, an outstanding team, man. We just was truly blessed not to go on a major drought, and our defense was so solid, it kept us in both games.
Well said, Coach. Again, folks, Xavier will be taking on Benedictine from out of Kansas. A 2 versus 3 matchup in Lakeland, Florida at Southeastern University. Winner takes on the 1 seed out of that tripod, Southeastern University. That's on March 12th, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. Any HBCUs in the Lakeland, Central Florida area, let's get out to Southeastern University. Go support Xavier. I promise you, you will not.
Orlando need to be in the house.
Yeah, I got to look at the dates, Coach, because I'm 45 minutes away. So if I can be there, I'm gonna get down there. But calling all the HBCU in Central Florida, get out to Southeastern. Let's go support Xavier. You will not be disappointed. These ladies play a good game of ball. You'll enjoy it. You will enjoy the game. So, Coach, best of luck, safe travels. Have a good week of practice or so, and we look forward to seeing you guys get a win and then see what happens from there.
All right. I really appreciate y'all having me on. God bless, and y'all do an outstanding job. Y'all really do.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right. Take care.
Right. God bless.
And now, getting ready to join us now, Bryan.
Rapid fire, huh? One to the next one, Drew. Run to the next one.
Oh, they ready? We willing and we able.
Let's keep it going. Coming up next, we have
all right. Go ahead.
We have from Stillman College, the SSAC tournament runner-up, Coach Don Teasley, Stillman College. Stillman has made its 3rd consecutive appearance in the NAIA tournament. Obviously, unfortunately, 2020 didn't happen, but it still counts because Stillman would have been there had we actually been able to play. Coach Teasley, how you doing, sir? Thank you for joining us.
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. One of the things right off the bat I noticed, Coach, Stillman is a 1 seed in the pod, in the tripod. Actually, in terms of overall seeding, 13th, which is obviously the top 16, if I want to say this right, top 16 seeds get the bye or get a 1 seed. Stillman had a record of 16-13, which speaks well for the SSAC because you had 2 teams as 1 seeds. Talk a little bit about the seeding and what it means about the SSAC, that they had 2 teams as 1 seeds in this year's tournament.
Oh yeah, we're very excited about being a number 1 seed. But I tell people all the time, our conference is probably one of the most competitive conferences in the country when it comes to top 25 teams, and there's so many great teams in our conference, and just to be able to be a part of that and be a 1 seed, and most of the time we're going to get 3 or 4 teams in the tournament, and on a year like this, we were just very thankful that we were one of the 3 that got in. So, but it's always good being a number 1.
And so from a year ago, take us maybe back into your thoughts best as you can. A year ago, you're preparing for the tournament. The pandemic kind of shuts it down. So for those young men who are getting that opportunity to go back, and even for yourself and your coaching staff, talk about the emotions over the past, I don't know, we're probably now 360 some odd, 65 days.
Yeah, no, when it hit us last year, we were, like it was about this time, we had our selection show in our locker room. We decided we were going to practice right after, and, we were all excited. We didn't know if we were going to be in or not, and we happened to be the last team called on the bracket. So, it was kind of watching the whole selection show, you're like, man, when are they going to call us, And then they finally did, so we were very excited. We went up and practiced, and we had our meeting the next morning, and then I was on a conference call, going over everything, about the tournament, the procedures and everything. And then 10 minutes right after that conference call, we got the news that it was over. So it was kind of a roller coaster ride, of emotions, guys getting ready and excited for making the tournament, and then all of a sudden not being able to make it. and it being shut down. But we kind of understood, you know, our main goal was to keep our athletes safe, keep our community safe, and you know, there's a time to play and there's a time not to play. And last year, you know, it just happened to be that time not to play, and, you know, and we kind of understood. And, you know, I was proud of our guys, how they handled that situation, you know, because they worked so hard to get to where they were, and for it to end so quickly, you know, it kind of put a damper on them. But, you know, just preparing this off season, you know, we were looking forward to this year, and then first semester we got shut down, you know. So, you know, all activities on campus halted, you know, so we weren't able to continue our workouts. We had to stop those, and you know, just coming back at Christmas, only having 7 days to prepare for a game, and not being able to work out or train or anything kind of put us in overdrive. So we were trying to get
All right, I think here we go.
I'm sorry for that.
That's all right. We got you, Coach. You were just talking about the year and coming into the start of the year.
Yeah, no, it was just, you know, just trying to get a lot in a short period of time, preparing to play a college basketball game in 7 days is kind of tough. But, you know, we felt like when we left our workouts, we were in great shape. So the guys continue to work out. You know, we met with them on, you know, regular, make sure they was healthy and in shape. And, you know, when we were able to get back together, you know, I was really impressed how professional they were and how they took at it and the year we had, you know. So it's kind of been a roller coaster ride. So it's been exciting, I can tell you that.
Yeah, no, I imagine. As you look at this bracket, and forgive me if I don't have your seating from last year, obviously with this tripod that gives the 1 seed a bye, what's the strategy, or how do you what's the game plan in terms of preparing, and, you know, for your two opponents, which will either be number 2 Georgetown, Kentucky, or Kaiser University out of Florida?
Yeah, no, just like, you know, like I told our guys tonight, everybody at this point is going to be extremely good. So we got to be ready for whoever we get, and trying to prepare for 2 opponents is tough. You know, we try to focus on the things that we do, and I know, you know, like, take care of the things that we can control. And as long as we do our job and do the things that we need to do, I think we'll be okay. But this time of year, everybody's going to be good no matter who you get. And you know, you're going to be playing some great basketball teams, and you just, you know, make sure that, you know, the way I look at it is you make sure you take care of your business and do the things that you need to do that got you here, and just keep preparing that way, because, you know, night in, night out, you don't know who you're going to get in the tournament. So each game, you know, it'll always be somebody. But yeah, we're going to do our best to prepare for both of them, and like I probably won't get any sleep next few days watching film and doing those kind of things. But, you know, that's the fun part of my job. I love that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to it.
Last question before we get you out of here, Coach. You've got a trio of guards there that got a little bit of recognition throughout not only your conference but NAIA. Just quickly tell everybody about those trio of guards who, let's be real, if you're going to make a run for the national championship, they will have to get off every game. Yeah, no, yeah, we are blessed with 3 special players. You know, we got a true point guard in Devin Merriweather. You know, night in, night out, he's our floor general. He does the things that we need to keep our team going on offensive end. You got guys like Trey Petty who do everything, you know, whether it's guarding the best player every night to scoring, you know, tough 2s and tough 3s is what I call them. He's a bucket, walking bucket. And then you got a shooter like LD, Ladarius Carter. You know, he had one of the best tournaments I ever seen a player have in the Southern States tournament. And just having those 3 guards, you know, on the floor at the same time, it's fun to watch at times. But you're right, they're going to have to step up and play every night from here on out. But they do. They come to work every day and they give us everything they got, and that's all you can ask for is those guys to play hard like that. But yeah, they're very special, and they've been fun to coach. So it'll be a sad day when they leave because they mean a lot to me.
And so again, Stillman is the 1 seed in the tripod that'll be in Montgomery, Alabama, Faulkner University, a gym that you guys are familiar with. I'm correct, right?
Well, yeah, we played there. We played there 2 years ago. So yeah, we played there the last year, but this year we wasn't able to play there. We played in Montgomery though. We played at the Crampton Bowl.
Okay.
So,
okay. That's
so
right.
and yeah, so and we got a big following in Montgomery. Hopefully everybody gets to come out. I don't know what the restrictions will be for COVID, but they always come out and support us in Montgomery. So that'll be fun too.
Good. Well, definitely, we're happy for Stillman. It's been fun following you guys this year and watching you guys again with a 16-3 record, third consecutive year making the national tournament. This year they go in as a 1 seed, 13th overall seeded team going into the tournament, and they will play the winner on March 13th of Georgetown, Kentucky versus Kaiser University out of Florida. And so that'll be on March 13th. So almost, I'm bad on math. So about a week and a half away, plenty of time to get ready. I know you guys will be chomping at the bit. Should be some intense practices. Coach, we appreciate your time. Thank you. Congratulations. The season's not over. Second season starts. We look forward to following you guys and hoping you guys can keep it going.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us on too. I appreciate all y'all do for us.
All right.
But thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. Be well, Coach.
You too.
All right. Again, that's Coach John Teasley, head coach, Stillman College. We are we've had fun watching them this past year. All right. So Drew, we got our next coach coming up, right, Drew?
Yes, sir. Joining us right now, going to be Coach Chris Wright of Talladega, right down the road from Stillman. Actually, just under 2 hours away from them. So,
is that down the road? Is that down the road? I'm not familiar with Alabama, Coach. Drew is. Is that down the road? I don't know.
It's about an hour and a half.
Straight down 20 to 2059.
Hey, I think we classify that as right down the road for sure.
All right. Coach, it's good to see you again. Feels like we just saw you just a couple days ago. We did, obviously. So it's good to see you. This is the 8th year that Talladega has been to the national tournament, third consecutive year. Your third year. So talk a little bit about that, the reaction from your team. Obviously you knew you were getting in the tournament, but now you know who you're playing and the time is here. Talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, no, it's good to see you again too, especially when I'm not being ushered to the locker room by 2 armed security guards with with guns. So hey, good to see you as well. I'm proud of our guys. Right now we're 24-3, and obviously didn't have the outcome that we wanted in the conference tournament. But hey, I love our team. I think we're poised for a deep run here. To be honest with you, I didn't love our draw. I don't know how we went from 9th in the country to I guess below 16th, where we didn't get a first round bye. But hey, that's good for us. People have doubted us all year. I mean, they doubted us. I heard a lot of the remarks made by other people, but man, hey, we're 17-3 against NAIAs. We had an RPI in the top 30. We lead the country in defensive field goal percentage and are second in rebounding margins. So I'm excited about this upcoming week.
Yeah.
And Coach, speaking of your draw, you were the number 2 seed, but once again, they didn't do our HBCUs a favor because you played LSU Alexandria, who's the number 3 seed, but you're playing them on their floor, Coach. I mean, I'm just looking at this. If you coach or play at an HBCU, and no offense to anybody on the NAIA committee, we kind of got screwed.
Hey, have you ever seen the movie Finding Forrester by any chance?
I think I have.
Okay, so at one point, Sean Connery says, "Hey, that's not exactly a soup question, is it?" And hey, you said it, not me. But again, hey, I love our team. We can only control the things that we can control. And I learned a good lesson about that on on Sunday at Edward Waters. So, hey, we're going to be fine. You know, I don't love the draw, but I love our team. And we'll be ready to go this weekend. I can promise you that. You know, we lost one game, our second game of the season. We won 8 in a row. And then Arizona Christian beat us, number 5 team in the country, and we won 15 in a row. So I told our guys, hey, all we got to go do is win 6 in a row. And you know, we can cut down the nets on the final night of NAIA basketball. So I believe in these guys, and I'm excited about it.
Coach, talk a little bit about I mean, so many levels, the disappointment of losing the conference tournament. I mean, but more so from just maybe the losing streak or what was learned, and maybe talk about, your assistant coach who stepped in, the players who had to finish that game. And I thought they did a great job of finishing that game. I mean, look, they rallied, they took the lead in the first half. I was watching this game again the other night, really enjoying it and seeing how well those guys fought to get back in the ball game on 2 different occasions. Talk a little bit about what and how that experience can not only help them, help you, and even your assistant coach who had to step in.
Yeah, no, hey, well, first off, thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate it. But, so I think for us, it was a learning experience for all of us. Obviously you never want to lose a game. And it is tough, when obviously I let our guys down by getting thrown out of the game, whether it was deserved or not. That's still on me. But yeah, man, Coach Warren did a terrific job. It's his first year coaching. John played for me the first 3 years, or the last 3 years, 1 at Central Baptist and 2 here. And, and our top assistant, Coach Ward, man, he was gone. He had a family emergency at home in Missouri and couldn't be with us. So yeah, John did a great job. And you know what, I tell you what, I was really proud of our guys. They kept their composure. They handled themselves well. I thought they, represented our institution with class. And, man, it was a tough loss, and it was a really emotional couple of days. But, to be honest with you, I think that our players and myself, we got a little complacent. You win 15 games in a row, and as a coach, you try to guard against this, but you get a little comfortable. Practices aren't as hard. You're not quite as demanding. And so, I honestly, I'm really thankful for this loss. I think it's going to get us refocused, and it's going to get us ready to go for next weekend.
How have you refocused in the couple of days of practice that you've had since the GCAC tournament, and giving what you've learned in those 3 losses compared to the 20 plus wins that you have? What is that one thing that your team is going to have to do to put you over the top in the tournament?
Well, first off, for all those 24 wins, it's been a good job by our players. They get all the credit. They deserve all the credit. It's all been them. But I'll tell you what, I'm a lot better coach after we lose a game, So I think for us, it's getting back to what we do. Again, we lead the country in defensive field goal percentage. We were a bad defensive team in Jacksonville. And, hey, credit Xavier. They were really good. Coach Williams does a good job. But we were very bad defensively. That's the first game all year that we got out rebounded. We're second in the country in rebounding margins. So, we've had a couple of wars in practice the last couple of days, and it's been really good for us. And I thought when we went down to New Orleans and played Xavier and Dillard, we were really hungry. We played with an edge. We played with the chip on our shoulder, and we look like some very content, satisfied, soft guys in Jacksonville. And, it starts with me. So, again, I told our guys, hey, I'm the head coach. Put that on me. We're going to learn from this, and we're going to go get better. So it's been a great couple of days of practice. And, again, I can't wait for next Friday.
All right.
Just looking at the opponent, LSU Alexandria, obviously you just learned who your opponent is, so you'll do some more breakdowns. But just when you hear a team that is top 10 in the country in scoring offense, 90 points a game, number 6 in the country in steals, number 2 in assists per game, at least it on paper sounds like a high offensive scoring team. You mentioned your defense. The challenge and the strategy when you play high scoring teams, given what you guys do defensively, can you talk a little bit about, or maybe share some thoughts in your preparation for opportunities like this?
For sure. And Coach Cordero at LSUA is a friend of mine. They are a, they've turned into an NAIA blue blood. That's like playing Kentucky in the first round. I mean, they've been top 5, top 10 in the country since he got to LSUA. And so, I mean, they played for a national championship a few years ago. They've been to a Fab Four. I mean, they're really, really good and really well coached. So, I mean, I think we got to keep those guys out of transition. He's a heck of a recruiter. I think they're really, really good when they can get up and down and play very free flowing. And they run good stuff in the half court. But, if we can limit their easy baskets and really contest everything and keep the ball in front of us, I think it's going to help us a lot.
All right. Well, Coach Wright, we thank you for joining us here today. We will be we'll be rooting for you along with all of our HBCUs. So good luck. Have a good week of practice there, Coach.
Hey, I appreciate it. Hey, thank you guys for having me on. And again, we appreciate all the coverage, and you guys do a heck of a job. So from our team to you guys, we thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
And now, Bryan, joining us is Coach Wright's athletic director and head coach of the Talladega Lady Tornadoes, Coach Kevin Harrod.
How's it going, everybody?
Coach, how we doing?
Tough night. It's a
Yeah.
tough night for us.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. You have to wear, Coach. You got to wear 2 hats. You as the head women's coach, the athletic director. So let's start from the team perspective before we go to and put on the other hat as the athletic director in that level. Talk a bit about maybe your thoughts, your emotions, your team's emotions, as the announcement came out and you did not see your team on the list of 48 on the women's side, and maybe if you're able to share a thought or two as to where you think or why you think that happened.
Okay. Well, first of all, I got to be honest. I don't let the tournament of the 48 or 64 determined to tell myself or my team how good we are. We know we should be there, and no list can dictate that. We were 16-3. We were tri-conference of champion. I think we had a very good record. I personally, I think with the NAIA, with the ratings, the rankings, I don't think there's enough transparency in it. I know this year was the first year they went to the RPI and the ARC, the ratings, and you have a lot of Division IIs and Division Is that don't know each other's teams. So I think that's something that they're going to have to work on. My players, they're very mature. They understood something that we were fighting a long time ago. We lost to Rust, which is a very good team, which, let me tell you, Coach Jackson is a very, very, very good coach. Great mentor to his kids. I'm very disappointed that they didn't make it either. And to be honest, they should have made it before we did. So I thought we were, being on the bubble, just looking at how Raiders would look at it. I did not expect them not to make it. But for us, our young ladies, they were disappointed. It was a difficult year, going through a pandemic, getting tested, multiple times weekly for an entire year, and be able to go through that grind, and try to keep it as normal as possible. It's a little disappointing, but they also understand that, we also have to be accountable. We lost some games that, we could have been better at, and going into next year, we'll be ready.
All right, Coach. You brought it up, so now since you brought it up, I'll dive a little bit deeper into it. I have a degree in economics, so numbers are my thing. And looking at some of these numbers and how they're interpreted just doesn't compute in my computer up here.
Yes.
I'm looking at some teams, and all this stuff is on the NAIA website. You got teams who are ranked in the top 20, in the top 25. They have strength of schedules above 50, in the hundreds. I've even seen some of them with strength of schedules in the 150s. RPIs in the, way out there. I've seen some of these teams that got in where you have better strength of schedule, better RPI, but your ARC, whatever ARC is, I still haven't found out what ARC is, but your ARC was lower than these teams were for some reason. So number one, if you could explain to me what ARC is so I can write it down in my notes so that I have it for future reference. And then number two, just what do you think about this? Because this was kind of the worst of everything coming together. You went from 2 tournaments of 32, Division I and Division II, to 1 large tournament that was supposed to have 64 teams in it. But because of the pandemic, you cut it to 48. So there are 16 teams that are sitting at home upset right now. And I know 2 of them personally.
Right. Well, first of all, about the ARC, we'd be on here for a while talking about the ARC. I won't even get into it because really, I think a lot of coaches are still like dumbfounded by it all. This was and I'm hoping this is just a 1-year thing. But with the NAIA, there was just some things that I just was not happy about. Again, you're switching things in the middle of the year. First of all, it was like, hey, it's 64 teams, like you said. Then it went to 48, and they did that in the middle of the year. Then they decided to go from to have the minimum games to qualify was 14, and then they switched to 10 in the middle of the year. Now you got to understand, as coaches, we understand COVID, and you may have to cancel games, and we're trying to. It was just like everybody was just trying to figure it out. Trying to get through the year. I mean, there were games that we should have played, but they were canceled because of COVID. So what do? I feel like a lot of these teams that you're talking about, 16 teams that you're talking about, I mean, it's almost like they got, penalized for games they didn't play. And what can you do about that? Then you see some teams that hardly played at all, that are going. NAIA has to do a better job and more transparency on these rankings, these raters. I just don't think it's just not fair to the student athletes. It's at the end of the day, I can tell you, and I'll be more blunt, as an HBCU, I mean, I feel that what we have to go through, what we have to do just to get in, and you guys, you can look at our past, look at what we have to do just to get in the national tournament. It's kind of ridiculous. And then you talk about strength of schedule and all that. I mean, I'm just not a fan of it all, to be honest. I mean, there are good teams, there are teams that aren't good, and there are some great teams. And I just feel, if you have to, like if you look at Rust, or not even Talladega, what you have to go through just to make it. I realized this years ago when, we had to go play the Campbellsvilles and the Shawnee State, and we had to go and play at their place, just to get our name out there. And, we were successful at it. But a lot of those teams don't even have to go through that. But we had to do that just to get our not only get our name out there, but to be a perennial team that goes to the national tournament, to be a top 25 team in the country. Other schools aren't doing all of that. Yeah. And I'd beg to differ on that. So like I said, it's just difficult. It's hard to stomach watching when you see other teams out there. And again, no shade to these other teams, because they're doing the best that they can. But I mean, I know there's some other deserving teams that should be in, with no question.
So how difficult is it for you to put a schedule together, given all these parameters, and then the target constantly moving, because you have to put this schedule together, and a lot of times you do 2-3 year agreements sometimes with schools with scheduling, in addition to what you're doing with your conference scheduling. So how difficult is it for you to hit that moving target, especially this year, because once again, you kind of got screwed by that moving target. Well, other teams were able to benefit.
Yeah, it was really difficult because it's almost like what football is. You know, you don't have so many games, so every game is weighed very heavily. So you may have some programs that are like, I don't want to play you. So, you know, so again, like you said, it's a moving target. You just try to get the games that you can, you know, and a lot of those are done by relationships with people that you know. But if someone doesn't know you, they be like, I don't know if I want to do that. So for us, you know, we are a very good program. We are an elite program, no matter how you look at it. So getting games, that was not easy for us too. And I feel, again, if you can't get the games, you know, and we still, you know, played 19 games, you know, but still, if you don't get the games, I feel like you kind of get penalized for that. I can't help it if, like, you know, another, you know, nationally ranked team doesn't want to play us. You know, you got to get the games that you can. And then when you use that against you, you know, saying, well, you know, your strength of schedule, I'm just like, well, and especially in this year, I don't really think that was fair. I don't know what that's about. But again, when we're talking about transparency, that's one of them.
Let me, Coach, if you put your AD hat on it and if we're talking about schedule, I was going through the 48 teams, and by my count, 7 of them are from Southern states. And
Yes.
So I think when you talk about that challenge, and I was going to ask if you feel, and I can't speak to previous years. I didn't do my research that deep, but just looking at this tournament, you feel there's maybe a regional bias. I mean, when you look at the fact that only 7 teams made it into the tournament, and it seems like if I did the numbers, I would guesstimate probably at least 41. I'd guesstimate probably 25 to 30 teams are from the Midwest area, maybe going from, you know, Kansas, Oklahoma into, you know, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, that Midwestern part of the middle central of America, so to speak. Do you feel like there's any regional bias? Have you seen it be this lopsided in against Southern schools in the South?
I'll say this. I think, and I think a lot of coaches in the South, you know, whether we're at HBCU or not, I think that, you know, there are, when a Southern state school takes a loss, I just feel that those losses are a lot harder. You know, they weigh much heavier than schools out in the Midwest or the West Coast. I mean, you can look at it, and if you see over time, you can see it. But, you know, again, I go back to saying, you know, with the NAIA, that's something that they're really going to have to look into, because I just feel, you know, we're doing what we can. We can only play the games that we can, you know, and again, you know, you have these, you know, these power conferences, so to speak, as what they're called. But I think the way they weigh these games are definitely in favor of the schools out in Midwest and West Coast. I mean, I can say that because I can see it.
And moving, I mean, I feel like with Talladega moving into the Southern States Athletic Conference next year, I think, you know, my own personal opinion, I think that will be a benefit towards Talladega in the future. Like, you know, obviously if that, you know, it's almost like a penalty. When I look at the number of conferences, one of the things I was telling Drew, with the way that they have the conference set up, where a conference with 10 or more teams gets 2 automatic berths. Well, you're sort of penalized this year in some respect by, you know, unfortunately by Talladega not making the conference tournament, you're penalized to some degree. Whereas if you're in another conference with 10 wins, it wouldn't have mattered, so to speak.
Correct. I mean, as an AD, first of all, I'm you know, the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference has been great for us. I mean, it's, you know, it's been a really good ride. Dr. Kiki Barnes has done a very good job as an interim commissioner and an AD of over at Dillard. But for us now, we just, again, we want to continue to move forward. I think for us, you know, the Southern States is an awesome conference, and it facilitates, you know, the 11 sports that we have now will be growing as well. And again, when it comes to basketball, it's a conference that's well respected nationally. So we're definitely looking forward to that.
Okay. Drew, any final questions for Coach?
No, just have to wish him luck as an AD as he goes along and supports his men's team. So, you know, good luck with that. And, you know, we wish you success on your move to the Southern States Athletic Conference. And then, you know, but I'll be seeing you probably sooner than later, Coach.
Absolutely. Now, I will say this. You haven't seen the last of us. We will be back. That I can promise. We will be back. And again, I'm really happy, and I'm really want to congratulate Coach Wright again on an amazing season. And I look forward to supporting him, and Dr. Hawkins, our president. We're looking forward to supporting him in our old campuses.
All right. Again, thank you, Coach Kevin Harrod, the head women's coach and athletic director at Talladega College. And as you can, you know, as we talked about, unfortunately, Talladega, I guess the NAIA committee says that they did not do enough to earn a trip to the national tournament, sadly, despite all the success they had this year. But the men's program will march on, and so we'll kind of keep our eye on that. That's kind of one of the things I know Drew and I will be talking about. So again, thank you, Coach. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
All right.
All right. Another one of those coaches who probably felt.
Hold on. Let's check the graphic. Make sure we got the right graphic going up here.
There we go. All right. Now, another one of those coaches who felt like they probably got screwed there is got Coach Eric Jackson of Rush College. Another one of those screws who passed the eyeball test, but for some reason did not pass whatever test they needed to pass in the NAIA. So joining us is Coach Jackson.
Coach Jackson.
Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on?
All right. Thank you for joining us. Hey, look, we are just as probably shocked and disappointed as I'm sure you, your coaching staff, and your players are. If you can, maybe share some of your thoughts and emotions right now, you know, or maybe words or anything that you might have shared with your players following the announcement or seeing that your team wasn't selected as one of the 48 teams into the national tournament.
Initial reaction, you know, trying my best to be politically correct here, but you know, it's not consistent. Nothing is consistent, you know, and you know, somebody who kind of studies the rankings year in and year out to try to see how the best way to schedule, the best way to go about things in terms of scheduling games and getting national notoriety. And even looking at the teams to see what type of teams are the national championship that are in the national tournament, you know, to make sure that my team is built for that when we do get the bid. You know, all those things, I look at all those things and I research those things. And, you know, I just feel like the system right now, you know, they added the RPI and the strength of schedule on top of the coaches poll, you know, and all of that is fine, but then they still add the human element of it. And so I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, the human element is going to trump everything, you know, and it's about whoever they want to get in is going to get in. If it's somebody that they want to get in and, you know, let's say their strength of schedule is slightly higher than mine, so to speak, but their record is worse. They can say, okay, well, we're going to let them in because of strength of schedule. But if the shoe is on the other foot, they're going to say, oh, well, look at their record. They're 12-2. We can't let a 12-2 team out, you know? And so it's just the human element just kind of lets you still pick and choose, but now you have more non-human elements as in these ratings, these RPIs and the strength of schedule and the coaches poll to throw off your human element on, if that makes sense. You have more scapegoats to blame it on when you really just want to pick who you want to pick.
Yeah. And looking at the polls, Coach, and I haven't had a chance to go back and look at the final poll compared to the tournament draw, but I know not only you but Talladega were in the middle of the pack as far as receiving votes, and I know there were a couple of teams who were below you guys in the receiving votes level that made the tournament. So I guess my question is to you, especially with the moving target that they had this year, how do you go and put together a schedule given all these different dynamics and these moving targets? We just like we just got through talking to Coach Rod. Went from 2 divisions of 32 teams to 1 division of 64 teams to 1 division of 48, and all this has come about over the past year. So just kind of talk about that, Coach.
I honestly felt like it was just 2 things. The first thing is I found it real convenient for them to say, okay, we're going to take the top 48 when there's no teams, no HBCUs in the top 16. So essentially all the teams that were the top 16, all those teams got first round bye. So all they have to do is essentially win 1 game and boom, they get to go to the final site. You know, Talladega was ranked 14 or 15 coming into the year, and nobody was talking about cutting games then. You know, and I just find it really, again, really inconsistent. And the HBCUs are getting the short end of the stick. You know, and to answer your question, and I know I'm kind of going on a rant here, but to answer your question about what's the next step, you know, and I know people don't really want to hear this, but my personal opinion is for us to get rid of the GCAC. And the reason why I say that is we are all, it's a smaller version of America. All the wealth of America is controlled by a small amount of people, and then everybody else just eats the crumbs off of that. You know, and I think the NAIA is a smaller scale of that. And what I mean by that is, you know, the PWIs is way more PWIs than it is HBCUs, but we're all in the same conference fighting for 1 bid. You know, and the fact that Xavier is leaving and the fact that Talladega is leaving, you know, is a step in the right direction, because now they can't hide behind their conference and not play us. So if we can be 12-2, for example, and then somebody else can be 9-5, and they can always say, well, their conference is better. Well, then, you know, somebody like me, you know, I would say, okay, well, let's play. Let's get a home and home in. You know, let's play a game. You know, I come to your place 1 year, you come to my place the next year. Let's get that set in stone. And then they'll tell you, oh no, you know, we don't have a game. We'll have a room on our schedule. But then somebody else who I've talked to, who I scheduled a game with, and I tell them who else is looking, and then all of a sudden 2 weeks later, your schedule, but you were full. You know, and it's stuff about the benefit of the doubt. They're going to get the benefit of the AC, the NAIA AC. But those schools won't come play us. The only way we'll get a chance to play them is if we go to them on their terms, on the day that they pick, and all that kind of stuff with no return game. If you go just do the history, and I'll use Kevin in Talladega as a prime example. That year, he had a top 5 team last year. I'm just going to tell you. He had a top 5 team last year. You know, and the reason why I know that is because he went and played all these top schools and beat them on the road. Them schools didn't come play him in his gym. He didn't come play them in his gym. And so you would think, okay, well, since those teams, he went to go travel to those teams the following year, they would return the home game. That's pretty much customary most of the time, but it's not customary with the PWIs. You know why? Because they understand that, hey, for you to get a shot to play us, it's going to be on our terms. So we're not going to play you until we feel like we're good. And even when we do that, we're going to play you when you guys are at home. I mean, when we're at home. You know, I'll give you another prime example. Last year we played Bethel. I feel like we were a top 15 team, top 10 team last year. We played Bethel, and Bethel ended up finishing number 6 in the country. And we beat Bethel at home, and they beat us at their place. And Bethel played a nationally ranked schedule. But for that, we don't see Bethel this year. And we're an hour and 15 minutes from each other. I played Free Hardeman last year. Lost pretty bad, to be quite honest with you. I didn't have my whole roster, whatever the case may be. But this year, you don't see Free Hardeman on my schedule. You know why? Because they want to come to Holly Springs, and it's clear that I went to them last year and played. You know, so now you don't get the opportunity to show the NAIA that, hey, we're good too. Whereas everybody in the conference, they get the luxury of playing each other at their own place. So a number 25 ranked Carroll last year can play a number 23 ranked Montana Western, and they can lose to each other, and nobody moves in the top out of the top 25 because they say, oh, it's a top 25 game. It's a quality loss. It's a quality win. You know what I'm saying? And they'll say that with each other, but we can't say that in the GCAC, and we know we're talented.
Right.
You know, we know we're talented, but teams won't play us. And that's just the bottom line. And so now you'll get a situation like mine where I'm 12-2, 13-2, and I don't get an opportunity to play those ranked teams because of COVID. And let's be clear, I had a ranked schedule coming into the season, but the bottom line is COVID wouldn't allow us to play those games, and 90% of those games were not played at no fault of Russ College. We were ready to play. You know, we had Lions College twice at our home and home. We had Bethel scheduled. You know, we had Loyola scheduled until we didn't play at the last minute. We had all those teams scheduled. All the teams that's in the national tournament. We're not ducking from anybody. You know, but you have a team that doesn't play any top 25 teams, any ranked teams, and get in because their record is nice. But then when we do that, it's, oh, we didn't play anybody.
Do you think, Coach, you'll have an opportunity to schedule those teams? Obviously, COVID took away a lot of things from a lot of people. Do you feel like you'll get an opportunity to schedule those teams or reschedule those teams for the 21-22 season?
I look forward to it. I mean, I send my schedule out all the time. I mean, you know, I'm looking for all of those teams that are ranked, that are going to the tournament, that are close, even some teams that are not close. You know, in the Talladega will be a good game for us. I mean, me and Kevin, we're always going to play. We've been friends for years. You know, but I'm looking at teams at a disadvantage all the time. You know, and that's the problem right now. Everybody wants the black school to go to the white school and play. But nobody wants to come to the play. So the Bethel last year comes to Holly Springs, and we're in a dogfight. And Chris had a great team, you know, but they lost their game. And we went up to Bethel 2 weeks before that, and we was up 3 with 2 or 3 minutes left. And this is the number 6 team in the Canadian Coach of the Year team. I wasn't even the best team in my conference, Coach. That's my biggest thing. I was the second best team in my conference last year, and we're competing with the number 6 team. We split with the number 6 team in the country, according to the NAIA. But then you turn around and say that the GCAC is not a strong league. I don't understand that.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing that throws me when people say stuff like that. You know, and but to answer your question, you know, nobody's running from anybody. You know, I mean, I want to play Bryan. I want to play Freed. I want to play Bethel. I want to play Lions. I want to play everybody that's in my area for me to play. I want to lace up and play. You know, but the problem is, it's of no benefit to them for them to play us.
Right.
You know, because at the end of the day, if they don't win, if they don't play us, they're going to always get the benefit of the doubt. Like, for example, Bethel went 9-10 this year, had a down year. But next year, if he has a decent year, he's going to get back in. If he's a couple of games above 500, he's going to get back in, and then they're going to yell tradition. Bethel's traditionally in the NAIA tournament. They're traditionally this, traditionally that. Well, that's like telling a kid, a guy that's looking for a job, they'll never get experience if you never hire them. So they're going to go from job to job to job, saying, and then every boss is telling them, oh, man, we're looking for somebody with more experience. Well, guess what? We'll never have experience. Russ College will never be a traditional national contender if we never traditionally get in to be a national contender.
Great
point.
Coach,
great point. Well, Coach, we would love to continue this conversation, and please don't ever be afraid to use our platform to rant and rave and share your opinion, your honest opinion on. But we do have a couple other coaches that we would like to talk to tonight. But please, Coach, you have our numbers. Contact us. We'll be more than happy to have you as a special guest on one of our other podcasts.
No problem, man. I appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, thank you, Coach. Congratulations on the season. And look, we definitely will be involved with helping to get the word out about Russ College and the women's program when you're building over there. So thank you again, and congratulations, and we'll be in touch.
All right, appreciate you guys.
All right, again, that was thank you, Coach. That was Coach Eric Jackson, head coach, Russ College. Obviously, another GCAC team a little disappointed, more than a little, at their being left out of the tournament. But let's turn our attention back to one of the 6 HBCU teams that are going into the national tournament. And joining us right now, Coach Elaine Powell of the Langston Lady Lions, the Sooner Athletic Conference Tournament runner-up. What a run, Coach, from the 7 seed. You knock off the 3 seed, knock off the 2 seed. As I'm watching the game, I'm telling Drew, I'm saying, Drew, I think they're gonna knock off the 1, Drew. Get away from knocking off the 1 seed. And it gets you into the tournament by getting to the championship. Coach, congratulations first off.
Thank you.
Talk a little bit about just the tournament run itself and the momentum, the confidence that your team picked up, which hopefully will yield some positive results for you in the national tournament.
Yeah, I think going into that last regular season game against SAGU, that helped build momentum going into the conference tournament, because we saw how good we could be once we're locked in and we're disciplined and we come ready to play. Anytime you have a Sheik Alexandra on your team, you have a chance to win any type of game. She's led the conference 2 years in a row in scoring. So our chances are good every time we step out on the court and play. Having her being so dimensional, she's able to do everything. And I think she helped mold the girls into falling into her league, because she come in practice, she's playing hard, and she get out on the floor, she's leaving out on the floor. So they have no other choice but to lead by her example. So we turn everything around at the right time going into the conference tournament.
Yeah. Now, Coach, I had the opportunity to see 2 of the 3 conference tournament games on online, and
right.
And your first game. Well, first of all, the first game when you won as the number 7 seed against the number 2, seems like you didn't get any calls in that game, but your team just wheeled their way to victory.
Right.
Same thing in the conference championship game that I saw, but unfortunately, you just weren't able to get over that hump. So, what have you learned from those experiences that will take you into this national tournament? Where, let's be real, we've seen how some of these HBCUs have been seeded in this tournament. We've seen, even though some of them may get a favorable seed, they've got a draw. They've got to go all the way across the country, or they've got a bad draw in their opponent.
Right.
So we know the NAIA has not done any HBCUs any favor. So what lessons have you learned?
I just think, when, like I try to tell my girls, it's basically us versus everybody. So when we're going into the gym, we already expected to be down 10. So play the game like you already down 10. And then when when you're having people that saying you don't have a chance to beat MacU, and then you go into MacU floor and you beat them on their home court, that just gaining more and more confidence to continue to go on when we play USAO. And even when we went down to Wayland Baptist, even though Wayland Baptist jumped out on us real quick, that's what Wayland Baptist do. That's why they're the number 2 ranked team in the nation. But we still have athletes. We have seniors that are on our team that they've been in that situation before. And we just continue to stick to what got us to the tournament, to the conference final. And that's just pressing, using our speed to get back into the game.
All right. One other question I have for you, Coach. First of all, Oklahoma's only HBCU. Now,
Right.
You went through a couple of years ago what Xavier and Talladega are getting
Right.
ready to go through this year, switching from a traditionally Black HBCU conference, although Red River is not a full HBCU conference, it is about half and half, over
Right.
to a historically white conference.
Right.
Kind of tell everybody what that transition is, and I think Coach Harrod and Talladega and Coach Browder are probably still listening. So let them know how hard that transition was for you guys.
I think the biggest thing is because the way we play is old school basketball, and it's kind of like the NBA. We take advantage of mismatches. If we see a mismatch, we're going to take advantage of it. We're kind of like the old Kentucky team with Rick Pitino. We're pressing you for 40 minutes. And within the conference that we're in, it's mostly just a draw and kick. So we're being more aggressive. I had a basketball game where it shot, I think it was like 96 free throws that were shot in the women's basketball game that night. And I'm looking like,
that's about what, 3.5 hours?
Woo, I'm looking like, I know we're playing different than what this conference play, but you still got to give us a chance to play. And the most important thing that I've learned, and I think our players just learned, is you're going to have patience with this conference, because what we're doing is different from what they used to seeing. And that's just the draw and kick and the 3-point game. We can shoot threes, but we're not a 3-point shooting team. Like I said, we're getting out, we're running a fast break, we're taking advantage of mismatches. We're letting Ashika, get her points as well, generate points for the team. So it's patience. You have to be patient. You really have to be patient with the ref. I think the biggest thing coming over for this conference for the past 2 years is that the referees are not letting us play, because our style is completely different from everybody else's style in this conference. So it's me talking to the commissioner over and over, trying to get him to understand that we're not going to change. I don't want to play the Golden State basketball. I want to play the old school basketball where we're backing people down. We go inside, outside.
Yeah, and Coach, that was one of the things I noticed in that championship game. The style of play and of your style of play versus your opponents. And you mentioned for a second Ashika Alexander, who was our national player of the week. She's averaging 22 a game, which she's a top 5 scorer in the NAIA. If I get those syllables out, acronyms out. Talk a little bit about her and what she. You mentioned earlier about her leadership, but just from maybe an offensive, defensive standpoint, what has she meant to this team, and what are her best attributes besides just scoring?
Right. If you look at our last game, just to start with this, against USAO, she took the charge in order for us to get to the conference championship game against USAO. So, she do everything for the team. Anything you ask of Ashika is no question asked. She buy into what we're trying to do. So once you get your best player, your lead on the floor to buy into what you're trying to do, then everyone else fall and play and buy in with her. She come into practice. She's working hard. You never have to yell at her to get on her to go hard or anything like that. She understands the game. She was a gem that we was able to get away from Marshall. She's coming from a Division I program. So, we had to get some of the rust off of her because she hadn't played in a year or a year and a half. But once she got the rust off of her and she started remembering, you know, what she can do. And in the women's game, I think the best thing about Ashika is her pull-up jump shot, because that's hard to guard in the women's game. You have a pull-up jump shot and you can attack off the dribble. If you can create your shot as well as creating a shot for your teammate, that's going to be hard to guard.
All right, Coach. Tell us, what do you know about your opponent? And that opponent is going to be Loyola, and you
Right.
guys playing in is it Park City,
Kansas.
Park,
Yes.
Kansas. First of all, I'm from the Midwest, but I've never heard of that. Where is that? Number one.
It's actually semi a home game for us. It's about 2 hours away from Langston. So that's a plus with us. You know, the traveling won't be so rough on our bodies. It's just a 2-hour drive. And, you know, we'll probably go up Wednesday night, you know, get ready to get up for a Thursday practice and prepare for Friday's game. The thing about Loyola, they pretty much like us. They like to play aggressive. They like to get after you. So it's really going to be an interesting game. You know, they got a couple of players over there that we have to watch. And my biggest thing about it doesn't matter who we play, as long as we come in the game mentally prepared and disciplined and sticking to our principles, then we can pretty much play with anybody in the country.
Now, Coach, the last time that Langston appeared in the tournament, and by the way, this is just for people who may not know, this is the 14th time that Langston women's program has been in the NAIA tournament. The last time was 2016, and if my numbers are correct, that would have been your first year coaching, correct? Your first year as the head coach at Langston, correct?
Correct. It's probably right after I got here. I think it was with Cheryl Miller the last time. I came right after Cheryl Miller.
Okay. Talk a little bit about that experience from 2016 and maybe some things that, you know, you've been working to get this program back to this national tournament. So maybe share with us some thoughts or maybe some things from that experience that you'll be sharing with this year's team as they get ready for the upcoming week and a half of practices heading to this tournament.
I think, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to stick to our principles. We're going to continue to work on our press. We may add a couple of new things, whether it's offensively or defensively, into what we're trying to do as far as that game plan scheme. But most importantly, we're going to stick to what we do and just play Langston basketball. I think the biggest adjustment from 2016 when I first got here to now is finding the players that fit my type of style of playing or the type of coach or player that I used to be or still am. But it's finding those right players that, you know, when it's time to get a stop, we can get a defensive stop. When it's time where I need somebody to go get a basket, then I have somebody that can go create a basket for herself, yet alone the team.
All right. So again, that contest March 12th against Loyola of Louisiana. It will be in Park City, Kansas. Kansas Collegiate Athletic Conference will be hosting that. We're still waiting on the game time schedule, but the winner of that.
I think we play 1 o'clock.
Okay, so it's a 1 o'clock afternoon game, and just for general purposes, March 12th is a Friday, so good day to go ahead and just take Friday off, folks. Anyone in the area, Midwest, the Langston community, just take the day off.
Take the day off.
Take the road trip over, support the Lady Lions, and then stay for the weekend because Concordia, Nebraska, always a good program. I know they've been in the tournament a few years, and they've got a good tradition. So that'll be the 1 seed, and so the winner of that contest takes on the 1. So, Coach, congratulations on getting back to
Thank you.
We hope the run continues because it definitely was exciting to watch in the conference tournament. And I got a feeling the crowd is going to show up. I got a feeling there's a very pro Langston crowd in the house.
Exactly.
That helps
Bring a couple of buses up. Thank you guys for having me.
All right. Again,
thank you, Coach.
Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Again, that was Coach Elaine Powell, head coach, head women's coach, Langston Lions, the Sooner Athletic Conference. All right. Drew, I believe Oh, we got still call. All right, Coach. Okay, there she goes. All right. All right. Let's see. So again, let's recap. What a show. So we've had started with Coach Cabral Huff of Voorhees men's program. We had Coach Alfred Williams, the head men's coach at Xavier. Head coach Bo Browder, the women's coach at Xavier. Head on Coach John Teasley, the men's coach of Stillman. Head on Coach Chris Wright, head men's coach at Talladega. Had Talladega women's coach and athletic director at Talladega, Kevin Harrod. Coach Eric Jackson, women's head coach at Rust. And then, of course, we had Langston's head coach. We had women's coach, Elaine Powell. And so, obviously, the disappointment there for Talladega, Rust, and we would be remiss if we didn't say there is obvious disappointment there that Edward Waters.
Men and women.
Men and women. I don't know about the RPI for the men, but I will say when I looked at the RPI for the women,
32.
They are the RPI for the women. Yes, they are 32 in the GCAC, which actually, by my unofficial, let's see, as I kind of scanned down the list, that made them the highest rated RPI in the GCAC of the
They were.
Yeah, and so,
and if I look correctly, I think they may have been the highest RPI not to make it. I kind of did a quick glance. I didn't really get to study it deep, but I think they were the highest team not to make it RPI wise.
Which is interesting because when you look at the parameters of what it takes, and before we get ready to close, let's just make people aware of what it takes to get into the national tournament as it's been set up, and sort of the same format for the men and the women starts with the auto berth, what they call the auto berth, in that you have conferences that have 10 or more postseason eligible teams receive 2 automatic bids. Okay. That's what you see right there on the screen. You also have conferences with less than 10 schools that receive 1 automatic berth. Now, that would be the GCAC, which by my count, Drew, and I had this paper somewhere, by my count, the GCAC is one of 3 conferences that fall into that category, having fewer than 10 schools. And then if you have a conference with more than 15 schools, you receive 3 automatic berths. And that basically counts for that's 4 conferences that applies to. So you can see, among the 22 conferences in NAIA, you've got 4 on the bottom spectrum, 3 or 4 on the upper level spectrum, 15 or more. But then everybody else kind of falls into that range of 10. And so that's the first part, right? Now, what they said is, due to COVID, conferences could have a drop of up to 3 schools. So that means 3 teams who may choose to opt out would opt out, and there would be no loss in the auto berth. Every school had to play 10 games unless they were tournament champions. Now, as we found out in talking to the coaches, that is a change that happened mid-season. I believe, what was the number previously, Drew? 14?
Yes, it started at 14, and then it was dropped to 10.
Okay, and that happened mid-season. Okay, and so now you get to what's called the auto bids. You can put that one graphic back up, Drew, that you had real quick. The auto bids, they award auto bids in 5 ways. You have the conference. You could win your conference regular season championship. You could be the conference regular season runner-up. You could be the conference tournament champion. You could be the conference tournament runner-up, or be a team selected by the conference in absence of a conference tournament. And then, of course, they're at-large berths. So where some of those apply, Langston, for example, right, Drew? Langston qualified because they lost in the championship game to a school that was the regular season champion. So they automatically, once they advanced to the championship game, obviously Langston wanted to win that championship, but they were already pretty much guaranteed a spot in the tournament.
Correct. Stillman was another team that did that. They
on the men's side.
On the men's side, yes. By making it to the championship game, that conference decided to go with the conference winner and the conference runner-up. And each conference gets to set its own parameters, long as they meet one of those 5 parameters when it comes to the automatic beat.
Now, Voorhees men is part of the Association of Independent Institutions. I got that correct this time.
Yes, you did.
There are 19 schools that are in that conference. You know, and it is considered a conference. Voorhees won the tournament championship, even though they were 1-8, I believe, or maybe 1-9 heading into the tournament. All they needed to do was win their tournament, which is what they did, handled business, got into the tournament. Even though they may be the 47th overall seed, hey, you win your tournament, you're in. Okay. Now
you've seen it many a time.
Right. The problems that came up related to the GCAC, we heard from Coach Harrod and Coach Jackson. You know, I don't know if it's the number of teams. Obviously, the GCAC is a 7-team conference.
Was a 17 conference.
Well, we're talking this year. This year, we're sticking to this year. 17 conference this season. We understand what the future holds for a few schools, but as a 17 conference, the fact that it's interesting that the 2 top teams, well, you know, it's funny. You had 3 co-conference champions, so I think there's a number of factors, Drew, and you tell me whether you agree or disagree. I think there are a couple factors that kind of doomed the GCAC women's programs. One is that you had the 3 teams be co-conference champions. Hey, great for those 3 schools. Doesn't make it easy for tournament selection time, right? Because now you've got 3 teams. Inevitably, somebody was not going to make the conference tournament due to math. Somebody was not going to make it.
I mean, go back to how they had to figure out who was the 1, the 2, and the 3.
Exactly.
Everybody except for one team came out of that upset. But let's go back. We understand why the GCAC went to the scheduling model that they did. But hindsight being 2020, did the GCAC screw themselves by going to their scheduling model with just a single round robin, meaning only 6 conference games? Could they have found a way to split it up and put 3 teams on each side and possibly get 9 games instead of the full double round robin or something? And these are the type of questions that have to be asked now, looking back, hindsight with it. And luckily, on the men's side,
hold on a second. Hold on. Before you go to the men's, I was just trying to, let's finish the point about the women here before we jump to the men.
Okay.
Because that's where, and the other thing I was going to get to, and then you sound like whether you agree or disagree here. The other thing I was going to point out was the fact that Xavier won the tournament was another thing that threw the monkey wrench in the spectrum, because they stole, honestly, let's be real. I feel like them winning.
They were the number 4 seed.
They were the 4 seed, which is probably for, if you had any dreams of multiple teams getting in, that's the worst case scenario. Now, Xavier doesn't care about that. Great for Xavier, they got in. But if you were looking at it from the perspective of other people, well, you know, Xavier winning was the worst thing that could have happened, because then it meant, 2 of your 3 co-champions didn't make the finals. And then
the third one lost.
Depending upon the third one losing now. So now you really put the onus on the committee to try to respect the conferences. So do you agree or disagree on my thing or there? If you want to add one, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was going to add, and we haven't really looked at the other conferences. How many other conferences, if any other conference, did that happen where a lower seeded team, not a 1 or a 2 going into that conference tournament, win their conference tournament? Because that also factors in to the number of at-large bids that teams get. If the teams that are supposed to get the automatic bids actually come out with the automatic bids, it opens up space for that next tier of teams. But when a team like an Xavier gets the automatic bid, it's going to knock out another well-deserved team. And this is in addition to all the other moving targets and everything else that the coaches laid out on the table. That's just tournament basketball, bracket busting, as they call it.
Right.
Xavier busted somebody's bracket.
Yes.
It may have been a conference mate, or it may have been somebody else, but Xavier busted somebody's bowl.
That's the equivalent of that would be what we regularly see sometimes happen in the SWAC and MEAC, where you will have a lower seeded team get hot and knock out the probably 2 best teams in the conference that maybe won first or finished first or second in the regular season, get to the conference tournament, get knocked out. And then they have maybe a 500 or less than 500 record.
Didn't Coppin get in one year at like 12 and 18? It was some MEAC school or Morgan or something like that about back in the 90s at 12 and 18 or something like that, because they got hot at the right time.
Well, remember FAMU getting in the one year that they were below 500. Then the next year they created the whole first 4, last 4 in, because I don't know, who knows? There's some people who think that it was maybe because of FAMU, but probably they just were already had that in place to kind of play against the lower conferences anyway. What was the point you were going to make about the men's conference or the men GCAC in the GCAC? You were making a point.
If Talladega wins the men's tournament, do you think Xavier still gets in?
That's an interesting question. They were the 2 seed,
and they've been in that receiving votes. They never quite made the top 25 all year. They were in the top 25 for a moment. Then they dropped out of the top 25 and stayed out of the top 25 for the remainder of the season after they had their COVID shutdown.
You talk about traditional opponents having an advantage, or traditional teams having an advantage. Xavier, 19 appearances. There are only, as I just scanned this list, I'm looking for programs that have been in the tournament more than Xavier, are equal or more than Xavier. There are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other programs that have been to the NAIA tournament on the men's side. And this is 83 years. 83 years. Only 5 other programs have been to the tournament more than Xavier men. So Xavier men getting to the championship game, especially after last year, I have a feeling they would have got in as an at-large.
Because of tradition.
Because of tradition. And we heard that from Coach Jackson and Coach Harrod about that tradition getting in, and how that affects. So, but the problem is you got to be able to get into the tournament in order to build that tradition. So even though Xavier has been there 19 times before, it sort of helps them. And that is a fascinating stat that only 4 or 5 other programs. I mean, there are 2 other programs who are making their 20th appearance along with Xavier. So that by all technical accounts, if I'm doing the math correct, 1, 2, 3, 4, that means 4 other programs have been to the tournament more than Xavier. That's pretty impressive.
Before we move off of the GCAC, and I'm not going to beat up on the GCAC, they're great partners to us, and they do a lot of good things. But people need to keep in mind that the GCAC did not start as an HBCU conference. They were a conference similar to the Red River that had a lot of HBCUs in it, but it was as Black as it was white at the start back in 1981. Ultimately, it migrated to an HBCU conference, and we traditionally consider it an HBCU conference, but it was not started in the same frame of mind as the SIAC, the CIAA, the MEAC, and the SWAC. And in order for the GCAC to survive, it's going to have to basically revert back to its roots and add non-HBCUs into the conference. Especially, they need to get to that magical number of 10.
Yeah, and I would say this: the one positive thing for Dr. Kiki Baker Barnes and whoever it is that will make those decisions about conference expansion. When you look at, for example, the AII, where Voorhees is, I mean, there are 19 schools. Voorhees is one of 19 schools. There are a lot of schools that don't benefit. Just do the math. You're going up against, you only get 3 spots in that AII normally. Why deal with fighting against 18 other schools when you if you and 4 other schools can go be a part of the GCAC, you could possibly change if you can get to 10, that's 2 guaranteed spots. The odds are better. The odds become significantly better of getting to the tournament in a 10-team conference than being in a 19-team conference where only 3 get in. Right? I mean, do the math. So that's interesting. So a lot to break down. Again, I'm sure we'll talk more about this next week on the Sports Wrap as we get closer to tournament time. Again, everybody's games are March 12th and 13th. That's a Friday and a Saturday. The opening rounds are on campus sites across the country. Then March 18th through the 23rd, that's when basically the Sweet 16 will be played in the women's bracket at the Tyson Event Center in Sioux City, Iowa. And then for the men's tournament will be played March 18th through the 23rd at Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City, Missouri. That'll be a Sweet 16 too. So that's how, and you know what? In a matter of a week and a half, 2 weeks, the NAIA tournament and a national champion will be decided. We don't have to wait 3 weeks like in the NCAA tournament to decide a national champion. So a smoother route to a champion for the NAIA schools.
Yeah. One other thing, Brian.
Yeah.
And this is off of the NAIA, but NCAA brackets Division II come out on Sunday evening. So, and as of right now, looking at the regional rankings, there's only 1 men's and 1 women's NCAA Division II HBCU that is even being talked about.
And that's
Tuskegee on the women's side and Benedict on the men's side.
Okay. All right.
So everybody that's root for those 2 teams to start off with, and then anybody else who may be on the bubble, like a Miles Men or Paul Lincoln of Missouri. Hopefully they can get on the run in the tournament because they have played the toughest schedule among the HBCUs. And on the women's side, Benedict is another team that's on the outside looking in. So let's hope that they can possibly get in.
All right. Drew, let's get ready to put a bow on it. It's been a good night. Thank you to all of the coaches and the schools that were a part of this. Thank you, those of you who have watched and who will listen. And of course, if you're listening in podcast format, thank you. Make sure to like and share, subscribe. to the Black College Sports Network and of course the BCSN Sports Wrap. It's been fun talking basketball this week, dating back to the GCAC tournament and up until today. And so we will keep you abreast of everything going on with these teams next week. And, that'll be it. Make sure you're following us on social media at MyBCSN1, the number one. Make sure you follow A.D. Drew on Twitter at BCSN Drew, DREW. You can find me at DRB365. That's it.
Don't please like, subscribe, share, and donate.
That's right. myjbn.com/support is how you can donate a cup of coffee to the brothers here. And shirts. Look, we already got our Xavier shirts. Any program, I'm stealing this one from Doc. I know Dr. Kenyatta Cabral. They do a great job of self-promotion and looking out for some gear. So you see, anytime you any of you programs want to send us some gear for us to wear on our shows, we will gladly rep your program. I'm wearing about a 3X, trying to get down, but I 3X.
That's just a regular L for me, a regular large.
Oh, that when you say a regular L, that's like a loss. I think an L.
It's a large, dude.
It's a regular large.
And last thing before we get out of here,
all right.
Thank you to all the coaches who appeared, who answered all my texts.
Yes, sir. Yes.
The SIDs who helped pull this together.
Yep.
Just thank to everybody who helped pull this out, and our executive producer Roy Evans for being on the phone with me when I had technical difficulties getting this thing started today.
I feel like you were the executive producer of this. You co-hosted and you were the executive producer. Give yourself a round of applause. Pat on the back.
All right, well, to the CEO.
Exactly. Technical support. There you go. This episode belongs to Roy Evans, and A.D. Drew did a great job as executive producer / co-host. I'm just here so I don't get fined. My name is Brian Wolford.
You did the research.
Yeah, I just did a little bit of research. That's it. Good luck to all the teams and men, women. Thank you for watching. Good night. God bless. Be well. Stay safe. Mask up. We're out.
We holla.
But earmuff, you stay hard.